Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business Spotlight, the podcast where we shine a light on the incredible entrepreneurs and business leaders in our community. I'm your host, Craig Wickerman with Music City Action Coach, and today we're excited to introduce to you someone who is blazing a trail in healthy dining right here in the Nashville area. Our guest today is Paul Goldsmith, owner of Saladworks in Spring Hill. We'll dive into Paul's background, explore the challenges he's faced, and the successes he's celebrated. Whether you're a fellow entrepreneur, an aspiring business owner, or someone who simply loves to support local businesses, this conversation is sure to inspire and inform. So without further ado, let's welcome Paul to the podcast. Paul, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great, Craig. Thanks. I'm glad to be here. And hopefully, this conversation is of benefit to those listening. And because I always learn something every time I listen to others on the show. So grateful to be here.
Yeah, man, so glad to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you end up owning a salad works down in Spring Hill?
I just woke up one day and thought, hey, what this place needs is another restaurant. And just a hint of sarcasm there. We have a lot of restaurants here in Spring Hill, a lot of wonderful restaurants. But truly, there was nothing quite like Saladworks. And so I've been on a health journey myself, not always been mindful, but a number of things happened. I turned 40. There was a pandemic and realize that your health is pretty much important. You can have all the business success in the world, but if you don't have your health, you don't have much. And so, really, as I was looking to invest in a brick and mortar business, wanted to support and build a business in our community of Spring Hill, thought, what is something I would be a consumer of that I would take my family to, and thought, this is really a gap in the market. So I looked up salad franchises and found Saladworks, and it took a couple year process, but here we are. We're about to celebrate our first anniversary since opening, and it has been really embraced by the community. So far, so good, and I do eat there most every day. So it is something that I'm not just the owner, but I'm also a consumer.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So passionate about healthy food yourself and making sure that the community has access to that option. You know what? People's eating habits are, I don't know. I guess they've gotten better over the years, but there is way too much fast food out there, and people just don't realize what it does to you.
Well, I
So
think, we're all very busy. I get it.
yeah,
And we've got so many responsibilities, there's not enough time. I myself just, hate to meal prep. It's a hassle, but I understand the importance of it. And so, want to make something available on the go. So we have lots of folks that either get it door dashed or pick it up, or they can come in for a quick lunch between meetings. And that's it. So fast food's not going anywhere, but we
Mhm.
can make better choices available because I don't think the trend is going anywhere of people wanting to have a fast food experience. So at least we can make better options available. And as long as people want them, we'll continue to make it available.
Yeah. So you're right. Food prep is kind of paramount to have a fresh meal, a healthy meal. It seems like that's the price you pay. You can't really get around that. How is uh, when you serve a customer, does it take longer to prepare a meal for them, or is all that prep done?
Well, yeah, if I wanted an easy business, or first of all, a restaurant, there's no part of it that's easy. And specifically, a restaurant that has 100 different fresh ingredients. There
Wow.
is a lot of complexity to this. But the beauty of it is, I don't do it myself. We have a great team that, we order all the produce and everything that we need and keep it stocked, and then make sure that everything is washed and prepped and chopped and ready to go. And at any given time, we have people in the back that are prepping, for the next supply of whatever it is, because we're always out of something and we're always refreshing and restocking and keeping it fresh. So we actually have two brands in one. We have Saladworks and Fruitables. And Fruitables, very similar to the salad concept, but it's a cold base. Acai is the most popular fruitable. We also have pitaya, which is known as dragon fruit, and Greek yogurt. You get a cold base, and then you add granola and your choice of fruits on top. And so that's another 40 ingredients on top of the 60 salad ingredients. And so it really is choose your own adventure. But that's the thing, you can never get bored. And I know people could say, well, I could make a salad at home. Well, you can and you should, but to have 60 fresh ingredients at the ready, let me tell you, it's a lot of work. It does take a team.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it does. So when you were looking for franchises, what stood out about Saladworks?
Well, that's the reason I didn't open Paul's Place, right? I don't know anything about opening a restaurant. Well, I do now, but
Mhm.
starting my own from scratch recipes and supply chain and everything else that goes along with opening a restaurant. And so kudos to folks that do figure that out. But I
Mhm.
think, the numbers are not good in the restaurant industry as far as restaurants opening and closing. And Spring Hill, Tennessee is no exception. We've had a number of wonderful restaurants open and close within 12 or 24 months. And so I wanted a proven concept. Saladworks has been around since 1986. And
Mhm.
so it's not a new concept. It is new to Tennessee and new to this area. But I really investigated a lot before I made the investment and like, okay, who's proven this concept? And they have. And then along the way they acquired some other brands, Fruitable included.
Mhm.
And so we're not the first concept. This is been in a number of states. It's larger on the East Coast. It started in the Philly area and is growing like wildfire across the country. And I thought, this would be a thing that I really feel like as Spring Hill grows and a lot of people coming from other areas that are looking for healthy options, maybe they had it where they lived before. So we can just take that model and put it right here in our community. And so far, that's been the case. People have really embraced it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, the Fruita Bowls too, man. That's those are really good. You know, I love eating those Fruita Bowls, man. I
Well,
love
they
eating a
are,
lot.
and they're really popular with young people, but people of all ages. I love them too. It tastes almost like ice cream, like a sweet treat, but it's healthy for you. The acai berry has tons of antioxidants, and it's super healthy.
Right, right. And so the business, you say, did you start it in the pandemic or on the heels of it?
Well, I actually started thinking about it in the pandemic, but really after the fact realized, okay, nobody's coming to save us. We have to figure this out on our own. And so we really signed the agreement in 2022, and it was a lengthy process to get open, and we did in the summer of 24.
Oh, wow. So it took you 2 years, and now you've got 1 year of operations under your belt, right?
We do just a year under our belt, and we're learning as we go.
Yeah, yeah. And so fully staffed, I would imagine now.
Well, yeah, you always be hiring. I think that's the thing you'll learn as a business owner, that you're always looking for great people, because this doesn't work without people making it happen. And you can get a job anywhere. Unemployment's at a record low, and so we really have to invest in our people. And people come and go, particularly in the fast casual restaurant space. And so we are always on the lookout for great people. And yeah, it takes about 30 part-timers. We've got an amazing full-time assistant manager as well as shift leads. So there's always somebody in charge. And then, like I said, about 30 part-timers that are there on different rotations, depending on, lunchtime is our busiest time. So we'll have more employees then, but we have to have folks prepping before we open and then being there up through close and cleanup after that. So it really does take a whole crew to make it happen.
Wow, 30 part-timers. Is that to support one location
Yes.
there? And so how many hmm, I'm just curious.
Mhm.
Well, you're part-timer. What's the average number of hours they're working?
Oh, it varies based on their availability, right? We've got a lot of high school students, and they can work anywhere from, one shift to 20 hours a week. And as
Mm-hmm.
summer approaches and folks are out of school, some of the students will pick up more hours than when they were in school.
Mm-hmm. So is it a challenging onboarding process, or what's the hardest quality to find in a potential candidate?
Yeah. Well, we've figured that out as we go as well. L- Myself, I like to learn by doing. And so we've kind of figured out rather than kind of sitting at a computer with a slide deck, which is how we started with onboarding. This is Saladworks. Here's our processes, all of that. We still show them all of that, but as we go, as we're prepping, here's how, shadow somebody working the line and shadow somebody, working the register or greeting customers or cleaning tables or whatever it may be. First you watch somebody, then flip the roles and they watch you do it, and they learn a lot quicker that way. And the hardest thing is finding somebody that doesn't just interview well, but somebody that really can be a superstar with people.
Mhm.
There's two requirements. One, you got to like people, and two, you got to work hard. We can teach you anything else, but I can't teach you to like people, and I can't teach you to work hard if you don't want to work hard. Everything
Mhm.
else is figure outable. And so, we've had some people who are awesome with people, but like myself, aren't the fastest moving on the line. That's why I don't work the line if I can avoid it, because there are people much faster than myself that can multitask. As people
Mhm.
are asking for several different ingredients at one time, and you got to move that line fast. So you got to be fast on your toes, and you got to be really friendly with people at the same time. So we can't have one or the other, because you can make a fast salad, but if you're a jerk to people, that ain't going to work either.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. So, is that your biggest challenge? Keeping like always be interviewing? I think I heard you said. Is that your biggest challenge, finding right people, or what other challenges have you run
You
into?
mean challenges in business or just
Yeah.
within finding people? No, not at all. We've got some great people, and we'll continue to hire great people and promote within. Our biggest challenge is just being profitable, because the margins are slim.
Oh, wow.
You have both, labor market. Like I said, it's easy to find a job, so you can't pay minimum wage. You have to invest in people. If you want good quality people, you got to invest in them. That's number one. But also, with fresh ingredients, they don't have a long shelf life. So we
Right.
have to make sure we're ordering the proper amount of food, but minimizing waste. And in my just under a year in business, and there's plenty of folks have a lot more years on me. I could learn from them. But what I've been able to figure out in my short time in the restaurant business is catering is where our profitability is going to come from. And so we can only get so many customers through the line ordering a salad at a given mealtime. But catering is virtually endless as far as if I get the right people, I can do multiple, and we do multiple catering orders at one time, because it's just a matter of getting the right supplies and prepping it and getting it out the door and having enough people to deliver it. And so right now, the most we've done is three catering orders at one time, but that's scalable. We can get more people as long as we have the business. And we are in Spring Hill. It's a growing community, but there are more established and larger communities just, north of us, in Nashville, the metropolitan area, in Brentwood, in Franklin. We can prepare the food in Spring Hill and drive it to those places and do. And so right now, our restaurant is still getting established in Spring Hill, but we've done a pretty good job of making the community aware of us and having folks come in and embrace us as a local restaurant. But nobody in Brentwood is driving to Spring Hill for lunch. uh,
Right.
and so we really are right now looking at the best way to market ourselves to the greater metropolitan area as a affordable and fresh, customizable for all dietary challenges that people have, whether it's gluten free or vegan or whatever your dietary preferences are. We can accommodate that because we can build your own, customize your own salad bar or fruitable bar as well. And so the idea is we almost like a ghost kitchen, except we have a real kitchen and real restaurant. we can service those other communities with catering, and that's what we're looking forward to growing in our second year in business.
Yeah, fantastic. So the focus is on catering outside of the Spring Hill area, really.
Absolutely. Well,
All
and
right.
as well as inside. So of course we're not going to ignore our community, but that has a ceiling, right? There's only so many
Sure.
businesses that order catering in Spring Hill, but there's a whole lot more in Franklin, in
Right.
Nashville, and the surrounding areas. And so we haven't even scratched the surface there. So don't
Right.
worry, if you're listening in Spring Hill, we're not leaving you. You're still our first priority when it comes to local restaurant area. But as far as catering, we can do both at the same time.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I was just, when I said outside the Spring Hill area, I just assumed that the majority of your catering business is already in Spring Hill. Is that a
Well,
good assumption?
and that's not entirely accurate
Hmm.
because supply and demand. There's more demand outside of Spring Hill. Even
Hmm.
before we did our marketing, there have been some folks in Franklin, in south of us, in Columbia as well. So, as a matter of fact, the majority of our catering business has been outside of Spring Hill from day one without us doing any marketing. Folks have
Hmm.
found us, and so I'm just leaning into what the market is already demanding.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So folks are looking for healthy options too.
Well,
Uh,
and I'll give you a clue, Craig. Here's the thing: 80% of our catering orders. I'm a big believer in the Pareto principle.
mhm.
You get 80% of your results from like a 20% area of business, and truly 80% of our business are for healthcare related businesses, doctors' offices,
Oh,
hospitals,
wow.
medical facilities. Well, guess what? They see sick people all the time. They're very aware of the fact that they need to eat healthier, and we all do. And so they're the ones ordering it, or if they have a salesperson coming in and the salesperson offers to buy them lunch, they say, "Where do you want it?" They say Saladworks. And so
Nice.
I just let other folks know, that's where our business is coming from. They're onto something. They
Yeah.
know what's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And so there's not a lot of medical places down in Spring Hill, although I know
No,
that
yeah, they just
that
got approved for a new hospital. That's a couple years out, and so
yeah.
it is growing. But like I said, just sheer population is north of here, so there's just
Right.
a lot more people, in the greater region than there is in Spring Hill. But we're here to just serve people that want a healthy meal. Or employers, like there's some large corporate entities in the region. There's Tractor Supply. There's
Mhm.
a Nissan. We actually just did a catered lunch for a meeting at Nissan a couple of weeks ago, which was awesome. They have a big headquarters here, Dollar General, and so these are all places that are on my radar. So if somebody from you're listening from your company, please reach out because we can definitely provide an option that's flexible for whoever you're trying to feed, and it's a healthier option. And I'm thinking, if I'm a manager, I'm a CEO of a big company, and we're going to invest in a meal for our folks. I want to invest in something that is going to, help my employees be healthier, help my employees, feel better and be more energized, and, actually be able to, not want to take a big nap in the middle of the afternoon because of the carbo load they just had, but, have something that actually is good for them, but
Yeah.
also delicious. We have plenty of, great options to, accommodate everybody's not only dietary needs, but their preferences. So we do panini trays as well as sandwiches and box lunches and that sort of thing. But it's all fresh, and, nothing is fried. For example, we don't have any fryers. That was my only requirement. If we're going to do a restaurant, no fryers. And that's the case. There's no fryers at Saladworks.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So tell me this, then, Paul. What's your biggest learning that you've uncovered or experienced since opening the
The
business?
more I learn, the more I realize I've got to learn. And
That's great.
I really, this is not my first entrepreneurial venture. Got a couple other businesses, and uh, I didn't want to be a one hit wonder. And so the idea is I'm starting in a new industry. I've got a lot to figure out, and like I said, I learn by doing. So it's
Mhm.
easy to kind of sit in my comfy chair and really dream about if I were doing this or that, how much I would do it better. And you don't have to go very far to look at, the reviews of most restaurants. People will tell you exactly everything they're doing wrong. And it's like, well, until you've kind of done it yourself, you don't realize how challenging it is.
Mhm.
And so that's what we're figuring out. Every day I think, what am I going to learn today? And so you either win or you learn in my book. And so we're doing a lot of learning this first year.
Yes.
We're winning, we're still in business, but we're learning a lot because we've got a lot of area of growth and to make it profitable and more profitable and, really make sure that we're running this business as efficiently and as well as you can, a restaurant. But the good news is, this has been figured out before, not
Mhm.
just with Saladworks, but plenty of other restaurants have thrived. And so I'm always constantly looking for others I can learn from.
Mhm. Yeah, fantastic. Winning or learning, I love that. Yes, we live on that principle as well. That's the right mindset to have, right? You got to be curious about things and ever diligent to seek ways to improve and realize that when you screw up, that's an opportunity to learn and get better, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So what's the hardest moment you had building this business?
Well, the hardest moment was before we opened our doors. And then we've had plenty of hard moments since. Like I said, we signed the agreement with Saladworks in 2022 and had hoped to get open within a year, but there were building delays. And frankly, the building owner ran out of funds, and so the building stopped. But we had built out Saladworks, and the building wasn't complete. And so there was no CO, no way we could get open. The building, needed the permits and some final things done to get open. And so it was about a year of, just asking when's this going to get done and what can we do and all this to finally, out of sheer desperation, I went to the city and said, hey, I've got Saladworks ready to open. What do we got to do to get this building open? And they had mercy on me. They're like, well, here's exactly what you got to do. And so took it upon myself to get it done. So we asked our contractor who built out our space to actually finish the building and took on additional expense to do that, a significant expense, but it was the only way. And the city worked with us and we got the certificate of occupancy so that we could get open. And so the building still isn't completely finished, but it was safe. We got it to a place where it was safe enough to get a permit to open our location. But like there's just to the right of our space, the facade isn't finished. So you can see that and the whole space is empty. And so since there's been one other business in our little plaza that has opened it, we enabled them to get open was a dentist. But the biggest challenge is, there aren't other businesses around us that would draw traffic. And so that was a challenge just getting open, figuring out how to finish the building so we could get open. And then now, there isn't a whole lot of other business around us that would draw natural traffic, foot traffic into our store. So people coming to Saladworks are just coming for Saladworks, not for the coffee shop next door or, the other retailers. So, I'm thinking how challenging it has been this first year. Won't it be wonderful when there are other retailers near us and they're going to build out a retail space just across the street from us? And so then when there's more things happening, when there's more businesses around us, that will only help our business. And so we're looking forward to that day because that has been a challenge, particularly around the holidays. Black Friday, it was completely dead because people were out in other areas shopping, not, in our location that only had our restaurant.
Right, right. Wow, that's yeah, it's just a matter of time, right? There's
Yeah.
no
Oh,
way that
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, it's
And
just a
so
matter of time.
you had the long-term vision, but there's no sense in just sitting around and woe is me. Why didn't they do this? Or, you know, really being bitter. It's like, well, what can I control? I can only control the controllables. And so I can go to the city and get really curious about what's it going to take and ask enough times and they'll give you an answer.
Mhm.
And so we were able to figure that out. And really that was the thing. It's like, I don't have time to sit and worry about, what could have been or what should have happened. It's like, no, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to get open, and this is how we're going to do it. And we're going to figure it out as we go. So now in year one, as we're figuring out how to run this place, it's like, okay, now we've got to figure out how to be profitable. Just getting open isn't enough. And like I said, my best assumption is catering really is the way with these bulk orders. And we've
Mhm.
done a little marketing in the last few weeks, and we've gotten a good response. And so I really think that we're onto something here. But it's not going to be easy. That's a whole different business than the restaurant, the catering side of things. And so, again, I won't say there's not a ton of challenges every day just figuring this out of like, why isn't the mathing? Why, why is there, not enough money?
Mhm.
Nobody's going to hand it to us. We've got to figure this out. And I say my wife is running the store. We had a manager in the beginning because I wanted to hire somebody with experience running a restaurant. And we did. And, won't get into it now. The manager did not work out. And so my wife stepped up and said, okay, there's a need. She stepped in and as the manager and, has really helped it get on a good path.
Yeah, that's awesome, man, dude. Everything you explained there, that's part of the journey, right? That's part of being the entrepreneur. And when roadblocks, kind of throw themselves in front of you, you got to figure out a way around them or through them or over them somehow,
Yeah,
right?
I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek, and he talks about, what is it, the endless game, and and so it's like the only way to lose is to quit, and I'm not
Mhm.
quitting, right?
Yeah.
And we'll just keep showing up, and as long as we can continue to serve people fresh food, and people are coming in the store, we're going to keep serving them and keep finding a way to do it more efficiently and more profitably and so it truly has been a learning curve, and the best is yet to come in my belief that we're going to keep learning and getting better as we go.
Yeah, awesome. So let me ask you one kind of closing question. I don't know if it's a
Sure.
final one, but a closing one here. If you had one thing to change in your business, what would it be?
Well, there's plenty that I change every time I learn a better way or a better process. But right now, if I could change one thing, I would love to have the right fit manager to free my wife up. She has plenty to do, and really have a manager again of the restaurant and a lead for our catering. And as that business grows, I believe that we'll get both of those roles filled. But in the meantime, I'm not wishing that we had him today, but if we had the resources, that's what I would put in today.
Mhm. Great, awesome. So you mentioned Simon Sinek. Is there anyone else that whose knowledge or insight or expertise that you've kind of relied on here in your journey? Any other book that sticks out? Any famous author? Any podcaster?
Oh, sure, all of them. But there's a long list. Since starting my own consulting company just about 10 years ago, so I'm a decade into this entrepreneurial journey. And like I said, I'm just getting started. I got so
Mhm.
much to learn. Call me in a decade, and hopefully I'll say, bury that podcast because I didn't know what I was talking about. And one of my entrepreneurial mentors, his name is Dan Sullivan. He is the founder of Strategic Coach. And I'm a big
Mhm.
believer in coaches. So I love what you do, Craig, because it's so important that we have people asking us great questions and challenging us and encouraging us because no man's an island. And so when I became an entrepreneur, I started looking up other entrepreneurs and found this coaching program called Strategic Coach. Immediately signed up, and every quarter fly up to Chicago, which is one of their offices, and spend a day being challenged by coaches. And you can Google Dan Sullivan Strategic Coach. He's got like a dozen different podcasts he does. I was able
Mhm.
to be in Chicago last year for his 80th birthday. They had a big celebration and being part of that. And the guy is not slowing down.
Mhm.
And so he shares openly about, his business, quote unquote, failures and how he learned from them and got better. And you asked about books. He's got a fantastic book called Who Not How. Love it because I apply that principle every day. Who can help me figure this out? Catering or running the restaurant or, uh, you know, um, all digital ads or whatever it is. I don't have to figure everything out. I just have to find the right who. And so that's a fantastic one. He's got some other books. One other concept and book that he has that I'll recommend is the Gap and the Gain. And this is always encouraging to me. And it's a reminder I have to continually uh, be reminded of and learn. But if you're in a really difficult place, well, don't first of all, don't stay there. But the idea is focus on the gain, how far you've come. Where did you start, and how stop comparing your journey to somebody else's, right? Because some people start much further along or in a different spot due to where they were born or who they were born to or just the right place at the right time. And so I think about how far you've come, and instead of focusing in on the ideal where you'd like to be, because the ideal is always going to be further along the horizon. And if you're always dreading the fact that you're not where you wish you'd be, you're going to be miserable your whole life. And so the
Mhm.
idea is we always want to grow and get better, but really celebrate your wins and don't forget about how far you've come. And if think about how far you've come, and then how far in another 10 years that I'll be. That really gives me the courage to kind of get through today and this week. That okay, you don't win a marathon in the first mile. You got to keep going and realize there's going to be setbacks along the way, but you learn from them and you get better and you get stronger, and you pivot and figure it out, and hopefully get better the next time you try. So yeah, strategic coach Dan Sullivan's been great to me. Oh man, there's so many, but there's a great book called Traction, which is for entrepreneurs. It's about just making sure you've got the right people and processes in place in your business so that you can get traction and grow to the next level. And so that's been pretty foundational. I'm just kind of looking at my shelf here. I read 3 books at a time, generally trying to learn as fast as I can, but not just read the books, but apply what I learn from them. And so those have been really foundational for me.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Yeah, you mentioned Dan Sullivan. I can't remember the guy who wrote the book with him, but I
Ben
used to be
Hardy,
Dan Hardy. Yeah, I came.
Ben Hardy.
I'm sorry, Ben Hardy. That's
Yeah,
exactly right. Dr. Ben Hardy.
that's right.
He's kind of a pretty smart,
Oh yeah,
insightful
he
young guy.
absolutely is. He co-authored those books with Dan.
Right.
The first book I was introduced from Ben was Willpower Doesn't Work. And the
Hmm.
concept there really fascinated me. Of course, in short burst, willpower works.
Hmm.
If you're tempted to eat that chocolate cake, you can overcome not eating the chocolate cake in the short term. But the bigger idea there is to do great things. You can't just muster it up. Like, I'm going to force myself to become, the fittest version of myself. Well, that doesn't work. You need systems and processes in place that's going to set you up for that. And so that really turned on a light switch for me because I am a pretty, uh, you know, I'm a pretty tenacious person. I like to, just grit my way through, but I realized that that's only going to get me so far, and really frustrated that if I don't take a bigger perspective and figure out, what it's going to take to really go the distance.
Right.
And, I think tying that all together, another book that they wrote together, 10X is easier than 2X,
Nice.
is the same idea. And 10X doesn't just mean money, but impact or freedom. And I think about that in terms of, if I have to double my business today, I could probably pull some tricks and get close in the short term. But if I had to 10X, I don't have the capability to 10X my business. So if I want to 10x my business in the next year or two or three, I really have to think differently. I have to collaborate with people that are further along, and you have to eliminate a lot of other paths that might get you double the returns, but there's very few paths that are going to get you, outsized returns. And whether it's using AI or other collaboration partners, or just something you cannot muster the will to get done in your own current capabilities. You have to learn a whole new game. Uh,
Right.
and um, and so those ideas do challenge me. I mean, because every day we're faced with, really, really challenging realities of, we just had a bad sales day. It was a bad weather. People didn't eat out, or employees called off, and we were short staffed, and we got a negative review, and it's like there's always something. And so really keeping that bigger perspective. And I'll give you one example of, just thinking differently, finding the right who, not how. When we first started, people are more likely to give you a negative review than a positive review. That's just human nature. And so our
Mhm.
Google reviews reflected that. And I thought, well, how are we going to get more positive reviews? Well, of course, we want to improve the service and offer a better experience for people. And we do that constantly, but that still wasn't netting more positive reviews. And so we actually partnered with an agency that specializes in this, and they send text to all of our customers and ask them to leave a review and remind
Mhm.
them. And there's a whole process behind the scenes that happens to they're authentic reviews. It's not bots; they're real customers. But we actually had to be intentional about asking people to do that, and I didn't have to figure that out. Somebody already did that for me and did that for other restaurants. And so I'm constantly looking for, okay, who has already figured this problem out, and how can I learn from their mistakes and grow faster as a result.
Yeah. So, yeah, all three of those books I am familiar with. I've read maybe one of them. I think 10x is better than 2x. Is the one I remember reading. And Who Not How. I don't think I've read that one, but they're kind of the same concept.
They are,
Thinking.
and they sound simple, but just when you hear the examples and you start to apply it as an exercise, uh,
Hmm.
you know, it really is life changing, because it
Yeah.
can be. Because I mentioned we started this conversation just talking about how I got into Saladworks and fitness journey, and it's like if somebody is not currently fit, they're dealing with health struggles, it feels insurmountable. Um,
Hmm.
and so you really do, you've got to change your mindset of, okay, I'm going to make healthy choices. Now, it may not make the situation go away at all, or certainly not overnight, but you can materially, uh, make progress. And so it might be as a matter of just going for a walk around the block, right? Getting some sunshine and going for a walk. And then, maybe it gets up to, okay, maybe you're going to join a gym and start with lifting some light weights, right? And you just kind of start where you're at, and then get a coach to help you figure out, what your diet and workout regimen should be. And so that's really my mindset of, it's all figure outable. Can I find people and coaches along the way to help me get to the results I'm looking for?
Right. Right. And in your example there, it's all about creating habits. If you're in the
Totally.
habit of going to the gym every day, I don't care if you work out or not, just get in the habit of going to the gym.
Oh,
And
that's absolutely. And
right.
that is a habit I've gotten into. And that's, one of my other businesses is we do own a Burn Boot Camp gym franchise here in Spring Hill. So if you're looking for a place to get fit, the group accountability is huge.
Yeah.
And so we'd invite you to come check that out, because, you need both. And like I
Right.
said, you need to eat well to nourish your body, but you also need to train and take care of your body, so that it's there to serve you. In your last 10 years of life, that's when folks experience the most, medical bills and really live a restricted life. And so before we all get there, like let's set ourselves up for success so that we can just continue to function at whatever it is we love doing, whether it's playing golf or playing with your grandkids or, just being mobile and doing the things you love to do. And so it really, the best time to start would have been 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. And
Yeah.
so that you nailed it with habits. That's another book. If you don't read any other books or listen to on Audible, Atomic Habits, James Clear, that is an amazing book
Hmm.
just to help you figure out how you're going to get out of the hole you're in, and whatever that is, business, personal, professional, health, of making habits easy and repeatable.
Yeah.
Atomic Habits outlines it for you, and it's really fantastic for anybody that wants to make a life change. Check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome stuff. Paul, been great talking to you, man. A wealth of information. I love to hear about your journey and your challenges and how you guys are progressing. So hats off to you. If someone hears the podcast, where's Saladworks located down in Spring Hill?
Yeah, we're at the intersection of Port Royal and Duplex Roads. But of course, everybody's got the Google machine. Just look up Saladworks Spring Hill or Burn Boot Camp Spring Hill, and you'll find me. And we'd love to see you in both places. But if you're traveling through Spring Hill, you can definitely hit me up, and would love to treat you to a salad. So
Right.
thanks for having me, Craig. It's been a pleasure, and definitely, hopefully, this encourages somebody.